Hello, in this tutorial we'll just create a basic application that calculate the tax of someone's salary using JQuery. So what we have here, we have a basic form, as you can see, where you enter the basic salary, you enter a tax rate, and then it will get you the results here of your salary after deduction of the main tax. As you know, with JQuery, if you want to use a JQuery library, you link the JQuery here, and this is the way you link it. You open a tag called script, and then within the first tag, you add the link. Here we're using Google JQuery library, and then you close that tag. We have a button on the page, as you can see here. When the user click on this one, this is the button, it will call this function. So you have a new open script here, and then you have this function, which is a very standard function. Now the action here, or the event, is when the user click on the button click, it will run whatever code we're going to add here. So basically, the form we have here has 3 fields, as you can see. The first one is an input, and we called it salary. And the second one is input again, and call it tax rate. The third one is another input, and we call it result. And the labels here just to display those labels we have for each field. So how now we can call those? Let's say we want to create a variable. We call it salary B, which basic salary. So where we can get that data from, it should come from this input box. So the way you call the input box in jQuery, we need the $sign, then open bracket, quotation, quotation, close bracket, then val, and that's how to do it. Now, here we need to put the right variable that will get us the value. Now, the way you write it, first you need to have the tag name or the element name. The element is input. So we are going to get the data from input. But there are 3 inputs. Which one we're going to use? So if you want to specify which one, you open this bracket, close it, and within that you say name equal. Then here we have the first input is salary. So name equal salary. And that's the way you get it. Now, you don't have any quotations here. You need to remember that. There is no quotations here. Basically, name equal the name of that element. So the element we're getting the data from is input, the first one, and the name for that one is salary. So that's how you get it. Now, as you know, the data stored here is normally a text. Now, how we can convert that text to a number? And we need that number to be float. Sometimes the salary has some decimal point. You get 1 million and 0.5. I hope you get 1 million, but it's difficult to get that 1 million. But let's say we want to get that text converted to numbers. So we need to use the method parse float. So we'll parse it to float and open bracket, close bracket. Now, with this line, we fully will get the salary B as numbers, as a float, and that's right. Now, if you want to get the other one, which again, another variable, maybe you can have tax tax R, let's call it lowercase, because we use lowercase just to stay consistent, equal, same thing, parse float, and then open bracket, close bracket, semicolon. In the middle, we'll use the dollar sign, and we are referring to the second input, which this one. So what the second input type is input anyway. So it is input, and then what's the name of that input, and then close the bracket. The name of the input is here tax rate with T uppercase. So just basically copy this one and I'll put it here to ensure it's the right one. So now we have the tax rate taken from the field. Now let's say var will send the final salary, which will be final salary. Assume this is the final salary. The final salary will be basically the basic salary, salary B, minus the deduction, and the deduction again is salary B multiply tax R. That's it. So you want to make it look a little bit better. Basically what you're doing is you first calculating the deductions, and then you take that amount and take it from basic salary. You can make this one 2 lines, but 1 line is enough and you'll get the same thing. Now we have the value of the final salary. We need to show that value here. So what we need to do is we want to say dollar sign again, and we calling something, we'll come back to it later. Value is final salary. Let's take this one and put it here. So that's what will show the final salary. But here we need to revert to the right element. The element type is input, and again name is, I think, result. Why I think it's a result? Is it lowercase or uppercase? Result. So you have to write it exactly as it is, and the result, that's the result. I think now we are ready to test. So let's click on put some data, 1020. No, the C is 0.02, the tax rate, and here is the result. We didn't get the result for a reason which we don't know. The reason is this result is result is result, and value tax rate multiply. Okay, let's try something to find out. We'll have an alert just to see if the alert will work, and then click there, and let's do 1000. I don't know why my zoom is keep coming. 1000, 0.2, and you're not getting any alert. So something wrong here. Pairs float. Pairs. Here is the error. This should be lowercase, and I don't know why I put it uppercase. That's good. So you've noticed now we have the error. That's perfect, and the result came here. So I don't want this alert now anymore. So my code is working perfect. Basically, you just add the basic salaries, assume it's 10,000, and the tax is 0.025, for example. Then this is what you will get as salary after deductions, and it works perfect. Now assume we want to do the same thing using Appery. So let me go to Appery here and let's create an application, and then I'll show you the same thing we did in JQuery using that editor of W3 schools. We can create an app here. We will do the same thing with the same code. So I don't need to create a new code. So let's say tax calculator. Is there anything there? Let's create a new one and we'll just call it tax calculator. When you do that, it will now take you to the editor and you will get this nice screen where we can design our app. It will take just few minutes. Here is the screen which we have, and let's add to that screen an input, 3 inputs as we have in ours, and one button here. Now we need to have the right names. So this one we did call it in our code. We call this one salary, isn't it? So we come here and call it again salary. So the name should be salary. The second one is, I think, tax uppercase rate. Just I'll confirm that by going back. Sorry, going back here. My screen, just I have something comes on top of the screen so I don't see it. Now tax rate, correct. That's correct. And the last one we have, so this is tax rate, correct. The last one is the result. One single result. Okay. That's good. Now let's go here and copy the code we have here. So this code, we need those lines. I don't need the function because the function already created within Appery. So I'll just copy this one. I'll go back to Appery here. And what I want, when the user click here, then the result will be calculated. So I go there and say when the user click here, then what I need JavaScript to run. And then JavaScript come here, and then I just copy and paste my code here. Okay, so where is my JavaScript? Sorry, it didn't come. So JavaScript, and then I'll copy the code here. That's the code, and save it. Now let's do one thing, clean this one. So we have a text here. We don't want any value here. We don't want any value here. And we don't want any value here as a start. Now we'll test it. Looks like a nice phone app with those 3 inputs. Then let's enter 1,000, 10,000, yeah, 0.025 and calculate, and that's the result. So exactly, it's the same thing which we did then. Now you want to improve it maybe by adding some better design. So you can add a label here and call it basic salary. Add another label here and call it tax rate, and then maybe a third one, say salary after tax. It looks better now, and maybe you can say here calculate calculate tax. Okay. So it's very quick and using exactly the same jQuery. My objective of this tutorial show you just you can use the jQuery and Appery. And the same way you can get the file values of any component. You change the properties and attributes of any component using jQuery and JavaScript, and you get whatever result you program your app to do. So thank you for listening, and we will do some more interesting videos later. You would expect that, for example, this function we just, this code we added here, we can also take it from here. Let me show you this one just before we stop here. And let's say I'll copy this one, and I then create a function here. You can say JavaScript and call it my library, for example. And then here you can start adding your JavaScript function. So let's create a function here. Function, we'll call it calc tax, for example. Open bracket and close bracket, and just keep it here. So maybe we need this function later, yeah? Assume we need it later. So I can just copy this one now and say save here. I'll go back here where I have the action, and I just call that function. I just call that function, and then I can get the same result. So let's test it. I think it's running here. So it came, and again, the same thing you will get from that function. So Appery will allow you to build your own library of function that we will use every time or more than once in your app, and then you just can basically call those functions and you get the result what you want to get from that function. And that's one thing you need to know you can do. You also can do a CSS as well, and we'll do the CSS3 later in the next video. So now, thank you for listening, and I hope you found this video useful. Thanks.